think it was Bart Simpson that actually said it the best. April Fools, as Homer cracked open his beer and it blew up. Why? Because Bart put it in a paint shaker and shook the crap out of it. Yeah, something you've never really done. I've tried to shake up, pop before to see if it actually go that far, and eventually the pressure inside of it will just start popping out the sides. It doesn't get to the point of The Simpsons. It is a great gag reel on an amazing cartoon, and one of those famous April Fools of all time. Everybody remembers that. If you've watched cartoons as a kid and you've watched The Simpsons, you understand the significance of the April Fool's episode, and you're probably just like myself, you watch it every single year on April Fool's after fooling everybody all day. And for myself, yes, April Fool's lasts 24 hours. It doesn't end at noon because it's called April Fool's Day. A day constitutes of 24 hours, which means in all reality, workplaces that tell you they need to stop at noon, I'm sorry, but I don't know, but really, you should have started at noon the day before. So today, AutoLooks is going to be taking a look at some of the cool April Fool's jokes that automotive companies play on us every single year and why they do it. Seriously, what is the reason behind them playing jokes on us? There's actually a good reason behind it. And you'll find out that answer today on the AutoLooks podcast. Welcome back to the AutoLooks podcast. I am your host, as always, the doctor to the automotive industry, Mr. Everett J, coming to you from our host website at AutoLooks.net. If you haven't been there, stop by, check it out, read some of the reviews, check out some of the ratings, go to the Corporate Links website page, big or small. We have car companies from around the globe. And on top of that, stop by, read some of the reviews from year to year that we have placed on our website. Check out some of our children's books and find some help on the help pages, all from the AutoLooks.net website. It is the main site that pre-existed the AutoLooks podcast and has been around since 2008. The AutoLooks podcast is brought to you by Ecom Entertainment Group and distributed by Podbean.com. If you'd like to get in touch with us, send us an email over at email@autolooks.net. So like I said in the beginning, The Simpsons. Oh yes, that amazing joke. As Homer opens the beer, it blows up and blows the whole house. And then you see Lou and Chief Wiggum. Chief, I believe that was the old Simpson house. That's 3 blocks away. I believe it's beer coming out of the chimney. I'm proceeding on foot. Call in for a cold A. We need pretzels. Repeat, pretzels. It's one of the greatest April Fool's things of all time. He's literally, Chief Wiggum's running down the street, going after the house because it's just full of beer, and it actually puts Homer into a coma. Not the funniest thing to happen out of some of these jokes, because really every year there are all kinds of either deaths or injuries due to April Fool's jokes, and most workplaces have put an end to April Fool's jokes either totally throughout the day or they cut them off at noon. Now for myself, I don't get crazy like that with April Fool's jokes, unlike some of the car companies out there that really fool us into thinking that some of these products are real. I just throw some easy ones out there, tying an air horn to somebody's seat, so when they go to sit down in the morning, all they hear is it scares the crap out of them. It's so funny. The good old saran wrap in the door sill, putting Vaseline or even margarine or butter on a toilet seat and watch people slip and slide all over it. Oh yeah, there's some great April Fool's jokes you can play on people out there. And in the workplace, there's some of them you can do to people that will even not cause harm. Changing the background, sending them a million different types of spam emails, hell, even sending them an email that automatically opens up as you rickroll them at work. Oh yeah. Or as my son likes to say, you send them a copy of Buddy Holly popped up and you Weezer them. It's just too cool. April Fools is one of those great pastimes for everyone. Everybody just likes to play jokes on anyone else. It gives you a date to literally play jokes on people where they understand why you're playing jokes on them. Everybody has to lighten up just a little bit to allow people to have some fun. And for myself, I love to play jokes. I scare the crap out of my wife all the time. I literally will stand at the end of a hall. In our basement, we have a long hallway from our living room all the way to the other end where our laundry room is. And our laundry room doesn't have a door to get into it. It has a curtain. We have a light up lightsaber. I stood behind that for probably about 15 minutes. My kids knew I was there and they didn't tell their mom. And all of a sudden, she opened the door and all she hears is and sees the red come out and this dark figure at the end. Oh, yeah, scared the crap out of her. Not as much as when I moved like a doll to the end of my office and I rolled a ball down and she turns, sees the doll there. She's like, ah! It's great. April Fool's Day is great. It just gives you a reason to play jokes on people, and automotive companies do this every single year. I remember a few years ago, Citroen had their cactus-inspired cactus. It's kind of funny. Like the car is already bizarre and really weird looking, and they made a cactus feature for it. You can actually cover it with a cactus wrap, make it a prickly perch of a car, but it was just that interesting. It was one of my first introductions to automobile companies playing jokes on people. And over the years, some great ones have actually come out of this. Aston Martin with a monster truck, a Honda CR-V was both a roadster and a convertible. Hot Wheels had one year where they actually sent out this new disclaimer that they're not going to be allowing people to build their own cars starting on April 1st. Oh, people lost their shit. It was funny. They're like, what do you mean? I'm going to have to put my own Hot Wheels together? I buy tons of these things. Nobody's going to want to buy them if they got to put them together even in the future. So many things that happen with it, and nobody understood what day it was coming out. But automotive companies do this every single year. McLaren last year had a really good one. They wrapped a 650 in feathers and stated from the factory you can now get a brand new feather wrap. Kind of funny because in a sense they're almost making fun of one of their competitors on the grid in Formula One, Red Bull, because they always say Red Bull gives you wings. Well, a McLaren with its doors open is essentially wings and covered with feathers. Just makes it that much more fun of a joke. And the funny thing is every year people see these things and they don't realize that it's fake. And now with the addition of AI technology, like yesterday I was going through some videos and I found one for Ace Ventura 3, and I'm watching it and I'm thinking it's real. And I get right to the end when he starts talking. I'm like, oh, no. The second he talks at the end of it, because there's no talking until right at the end, you can tell 100% this is AI created. It's not a real movie. Well, when it comes to images, it's even harder to decipher. And automotive companies are now using that to their benefit. And they use brand new technology like this to kind of make a statement. Since the introduction of essentially social media, automotive companies have been playing April Fool's jokes on the online world. Before they used to do print ads and some television ads, but you have to remember you got to pay in advance. There's no guarantee it's going to come out exactly on that day to freak people out. They're going to get all kinds of things. So it created more of a headache to automotive companies. So around the times of the internet and the early days of MySpace, the precursor to Facebook for people who don't know what MySpace actually was, if you really want to learn about it, I suggest watching the music video White and Nerdy by the great man that I'm going to see this summer, Mr. Weird Al Yankovic. White and Nerdy, as he says he pimps out his MySpace page. You basically build your own essential website and communicate with tons and tons of people. It's like a precursor to Facebook. You remember Facebook when you used to be able to personalize everything on it besides just like your banner image and your actual image? You used to be able to pimp out tons of other things in it? Yeah, those are great days. Automotive companies are now using this new technology because everybody is literally plugged in. From young kids all the way up to the elderly. People are on social media all the time and they know people are on it all the time. That's what makes it so great. And with so much disinformation out there, tons of people have trouble trusting every single thing they either see or hear out there. A lot more people actually trust things that they see than they hear. So in saying that, I'm taking a wild guess that a lot of people listening right now probably don't trust me more so than if they saw me in an actual podcast talking to my microphone right now as I'm doing. You know, staring at you, talking to you on my microphone with this amazing cool light coming off the back of it. You'd be like, oh yeah, I'm so entranced in this. Yeah, it's amazing. It's like Mr. Everett J is talking to me face to face, and he's getting real close to that microphone. All reality, hearing, reading, seeing, it's all part of how we take in information. And automotive companies, like I said, have been utilizing this to play April Fool's jokes on people for years. One of my most favorite ones of all time was Jeep. A few years back, created the Jeep Grill, literally a barbecue that was made to look like the Jeep Grill. They actually had a working model of it and real people. Like it was a legit advertisement. And I'm looking at it going, wow, that is cool. That would be a great idea. You know, I've seen those ones that are like people build these fire pits that look like the Death Star. I've even seen the ones with like Darth Vader heads, TIE fighters, you know, all these cool things. Why not make a barbecue of a Jeep Grill? I'm like, oh, that is so cool. Jeep is getting into some really neat stuff. I've heard of like the Bugatti office desk or Ferrari luggage, but not a Jeep grill, and I would buy one of those things. I have like this little Ford F-150 at the end of my spatula for my barbecue. My little truck one. I only got it because it's a truck. And in all reality, I got it from a dollar store, so there was no choice on the truck at the end of it. But it made me think, oh, this is cool. This is great. And then I see the date it comes out, April 1st. I'm like, oh, this has got to be a joke. It's a cool, amazing product. But it's fake. Yeah. Like Skoda with their noise canceling headrest. Or BMW saying they're going to get rid of all features from vehicles that nobody uses, including turn signals, because BMW drivers are some of the most prevalent ones to not use their turn signal while changing lanes. It's a proven fact. I'm sorry to all the BMW fans out there, but literally so many different car magazines and media sources have done the stuff on this. They found BMW drivers are the most aggravated ones without using their turn signals. So BMW played off of that for an April Fool's joke, basically stating to people, oh yeah, we're just going to get rid of the turn signals from the car. Since nobody uses them, why do we need them? They also had the BMW truck option, the 3 Series truck that they were going to build. Well, you got to remember, with the world we live in today, people look at some things like that, kind of like the Jeep barbecue, and say, hey, you might have thought it was a joke. I thought it was real. And since it's not real, I'm going to make it. And how many people out there have chopped up BMW 3 Series in their garages to build their own pickup truck? Funny thing is, I haven't seen anybody go out and take a BMW X5 or an X7, chop it up, and turn it into a pickup truck. See, that would be a lot better because it's actually built for off-road environments. A 3 Series pickup truck is kind of like one of the world's greatest drift cars ever custom built for drifting in Japan. The Sylvia truck, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's one of the coolest things. Kind of like those old Holden Maloos and the FPV Falcon trucks. The Utes, they're amazing and fun, and they're cool vehicles, and they're not a joke. So the Jeep truck was something that people actually took seriously, and then when Jeep didn't bring it out, they're like, oh, fuck, man, I might as well just make myself one. And they did. Another cool thing they actually did a couple years ago was the BMW magnetic tow option. So on the front of your vehicle, when you're on the highway, you could literally just turn on the tow option and it would click onto the vehicle in front of you. And with that, what it would do is you could literally, it's like a tractor beam. It would hold you onto the car in front of you. You guys would do the same speed. You just use it as cruise control. Well, tech people see this and it's like, you know what? We could build an autonomous system that actually does that. And here we go. Autonomous technology at its best. Hell, things like this have been working for years. BMW gave us the insight. So car companies kind of give you a precursor to information and technology that they're kind of working on. Some of these products they would never create. Like I said, the Jeep grill, they wouldn't create. Or even the Volkswagen Illuminescent ID3 Harlequin edition. Okay, one that actually lit up. It glowed in the dark. Or how about the old Volkswagen one? They were going to change their name. They did it for April Fool's, the year that whole, Dieselgate thing happened. And they wanted to change people's perception of Volkswagen. So they literally said and did like a month of PR stuff all before April 1st, saying how they're going to change their name over to Volkswagen and go fully electric for the future. They're going to be taking the internal combustion engine and diesel options completely out of their lineup, going all in on electric. And to do it, they had to change their name to Volkswagen. Everybody thought they were serious. Like they literally led us on a trail for over a month. And then bam, April Fool's Day, they have the special ID3 Harlequin edition come out. And they tell us is a joke. They're not going to change their name to Volkswagen. That's just dumb. Volkswagen already means people's car. Why would we change the name of it? But at the press release stating the fact that it was an April Fool's joke, they told everyone that they were going heavily into the electric vehicle industry. And soon enough, Volkswagen became one of the top players in the world for electric vehicle technology, investments, and products out on the automotive world. So essentially, it was a great April Fool's joke to bring massive PR to the car company, where in the end, it was a joke. The name changeover, but everything else behind it was not a joke. And because you dove so deep into it, they had you hooked. It helped to increase the sales of the brand new ID3 electric hatchback. That's essentially a PR stunt made to boost sales. And that's what a lot of the April Fool's jokes are, to bring more brand awareness. If you don't remember, years ago, Volkswagen did a little kid as Darth Vader for the Super Bowl. Or at the end, the kid's trying to turn the car on and his dad presses the button. The kid gets freaked out. It's like, whoa, I did that. Well, It became one of the most memorable commercials of all time, and it made you remember that that was Volkswagen that did that. So these companies bring this massive awareness, even through jokes, to their car companies. You remember them. And it's not just today you remember them in the future. You're going online, you're hearing about April Fool's coming up, and, Mini's got this new one coming out. You're like, Mini, it's like, I remember a couple years ago when they did that special edition one, the hipster hatch edition for the man bun, plaid wearing, hipsters type people from the inner city. And then they also had that one that apparently ran on T because they're from Great Britain. That was funny. I remember they did that. It makes it memorable, and you remember these car companies. So it's another form of advertising. And people remember humor a lot better than just a decent experience. And I'll tell you one thing I learned in business is it's harder to keep people than it is to get new ones. Why? Because when you make one mistake after you gain the trust of one person, one mistake with that person, and they'll go tell 9 people. You give them the most amazing treatment ever. Like literally lay out the red carpet for them. They'll tell 3 of their friends. They tell less people about good experiences. Social media proves that to us. People who don't like my podcast will go online in droves and talk badly about it. But you'll never read good points. Why? Because they use the platform for bad. So when these auto companies use the platform for humor and it catches these people off, they turn it into a bad situation. Because some of these people get just so pissed off at it that it's a stupid idea and they go right off the rails. That 9 factor just keeps growing and growing and growing. Where in the end, when they get proven that it's just a joke and they all should have just kept their mouths shut, well, all you could say is there's a ton of people that remember what they said and who they talked about. Well, yeah. You have to remember, you write something on a forum bad thing about one of these car companies, they'll remember. It's pretty interesting. But a lot of them like to play around with funny ideas, like the Aero Soul. Like you could tell right from the picture that it's literally a Photoshop picture made by Kia to even look bad, to make you aware of the fact that it's a joke. And yet some people still thought it was the most butt ugly thing and they're going off about its design, not realizing it's a joke. Like I said, more people will talk bad than good. I do that all the time, like right now, especially with this whole thing about, Canada becoming the 51st state. I always tell people, I said, I don't want to do it. I don't agree with it, blah, 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 blah. But I said, but there's a silver lining to it. I always like to try and find the good and the humorous in all situations. I'm like, yeah, you just got to remember, if we join the United States, the province of Ontario is fucked, seriously. Like, fucked. Why? Because of the Interstate Pact. Province of Ontario would have to 4-lane, like limited access throughway for Highway 17 and 11, which would equate to nearly 4,000 kilometers of roadway. I'm like, see, there's a silver lining in it. And I'll give up my health care, but I'm going to gain my highway, right? You have to find the humor in the situations. And these companies find the humor in the situations. Some of them, their humor at the end of the day just creates a good laugh. Some of them, at the end of the day, inspires people to go out and create things like this. And some of them, at the end of the day, people are literally looking at it going, why? That seems like the stupidest thing you can ever do, even for a joke. But in all reality, you remember the joke. When you get told a really funny joke, whether it be from friends, family, or even a coworker at work, if it's funny and it made you laugh, you'll remember it. And car companies know that, and they understand that. It's part of marketing and advertising. A humor-based advertisement can really make you think. Aston Martin had one that was actually a serious one years ago. It had this amazingly attractive female on the front, literally like a little lace gown. You could see her nice butt, and she's standing there getting ready for a date night. And it was all about selling Aston Martin used vehicles. And it said, you may not have been the first to drive her, but at least you know she'll be well prepared when you get her. Basically stating that when you buy one of their used vehicles, doesn't matter that it's been used by somebody else. They're going to make sure that when you buy it, it's like getting it new. It's already pre-broken in, so you don't have to go through some of those bad points about buying a new vehicle. And by using this amazingly great looking female in it, it really appeals, at least to the male side, some female side, but whatever everyone's into, it appeals to them. And for myself, when I saw it, I'm like, naturally, it's an attractive female. My eye just freaking dilate as a standard. It's like, whoa. And then I read it and I'm like, that is funny. I saw that ad before my son was even born. God, almost 2 decades ago. And I still remember it. Kind of like the Citroen cactus. That was 11 years ago that I saw that on April Fool's. And I still remember it. Some of these amazing things I remember. Like I said, people remember bad experiences and they remember funny moments. Why do you think when you watch TV shows and you ask somebody and you use a serious line from a show like NYPD Blue or Blue Bloods or, even ER, nobody gets it. They'll stare at you like, what the hell? And you're like, oh, it's from ER. And they're just like, and I watched it. Well, I don't remember any of that crap. But for anybody who's seen a show like South Park, Family Guy, The Simpsons, Bob's Burgers, even Futurama, like those main 5 ones are my key go-to for humor in my life. How Beavis and Butthead is a big one too. And I have a famous line I like to use from Beavis and Butthead. It was a very funny moment. Because Beavis literally gets kicked in the nuts. And Butthead looks at him and goes, don't worry, Beavis. You can cry. Crying gets all the sad out. And it's like, oh my God, it's funny and truthful at the same time. Butthead's an idiot, but that's deep, man. And it's funny. How many people watch The Simpsons and remember those funny moments? Like I said at the very beginning of this episode, the April Fools. If I look at you, I point as I'm standing on a highway and I go, April Fools. And if you've seen The Simpsons, you automatically in your head see that house going and then you see Chief Wake-Up calling in for backup because he needs pretzels. It's humor. Humor lightens up our day. It puts a smile on our face. And even to the most hard-pressed, cold-blooded people out there, if you can crack a smile and make them laugh, then you've made their day. And trust me, in my life, there's only one person I know of that I can't do that to. I've heard them laugh, but I can't get them to laugh because they take me too seriously with everything because we're at edge. You could probably guess who it is if you've listened to a lot of my podcasts, but anyone else, I can get a laugh. And I love laughing. I like to get the humor out of any situation. Hell, even death. Why? Because people who laugh live longer. Yeah, some of the oldest people in the world, and they always say, don't hold stress or regrets or grudges. Learn to laugh and live life in the moment. Why? Because stress kills you. Being pent up and worried about everything kills you all the time. And I try and tell that to specific people that I know in my life, but it doesn't change anything. You need to let the laughter in. Think about it. When Krusty died on The Simpsons, faked his death, and they had the giant monument of Krusty's head there, and everybody's crying. What does it say on Krusty's tombstone? It's him smiling and laughing, saying, see you real soon, kids. Like that's dark. But in a sense, it's also funny. And if you can't get the humor side of that, then you got issues. April Fool's jokes from car companies is a way for you to remember and signify with a car company about something that made you smile. Because when you smile, the whole world smiles with you. Louis Armstrong said it best. For a man that had so much to spare in his life and went through so much, he created one of the most beautiful songs in the world. And he had a point. When you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. If you really want to get into context, there's also another one right after that. I'm going to leave you this one last bit. When you smile, the whole world smiles with you. And when you fart, you stand alone. Think about that. If you just giggled a little bit, that was the point of the joke. If you were disgusted by it, you didn't understand the point of the joke. Or if you see some of these car companies putting these fun things out, like MG, tires that paint the road, or the invisible car, Hyundai, the click to fly, and the new i10 Potmobile, or hell, you even do a joke that isn't a joke, like BMW of New Zealand. They gave away a free car a couple years ago, and everybody thought it was a joke, but it was a reverse April Fool's joke, and one person, Tiana Marsh, showed up at the dealership and asked for her free car. They filled out the paperwork, and she drove away with a BMW 1 Series with a license plate, no fools. Because she was the one smart enough to realize that it wasn't an April Fool's joke. And even if it was, she was bold enough to go in and have a good laugh about it. Because literally, everybody needs a laugh. And the world would be so much better of a place if we all learned to laugh every once in a while. I'm going to leave you with one of the most famous sayings that I've ever heard. People always ask us why there's so many comedians in Canada. My dad had the perfect explanation for this. 1, we have bad weather. 2, we always have bad government. 3, we have bad roads. So if we don't learn to laugh about things, we're just going to die so much sooner. Because literally, why do you think somebody like John Candy, Jim Carrey, Mike Myers, or even Seth Rogen got so funny? They had to find the humor in a bad situation. And car companies do that. They use the humor of April Fools to, even if something is so bad, like Dieselgate, they could turn it around and make it one of the funniest jokes of all time. So humor, we all need to just smile and laugh. Because trust me, I don't like to live in a world where it's 100% serious all the time. And I don't like to work in workplaces like that. I have worked in serious workplaces, and they are the most toxic environments ever. Especially the ones that don't let you play April Fool's jokes. So today, on April Fool's Day, go out, read some of the news articles. Check out, websites like Car Scoops, Motor One, Car News China, or hell, even the AutoLooks website, and find some of these great, funny April Fool's jokes that car companies are putting out to the world. Because we all need a good smile today, even if we're the one that had the joke played on us. We have to remember, it's funny, and we need to lighten up just a little bit, because April Fool's is all about letting go. So if you like this podcast, please like, share, or comment about it on any of the major social feeds or streaming sites that you found the AutoLooks podcast on. Write a comment, click the like button up below, and share this with all your friends, family, well-wishers, co-workers, and even your boss. Send it off to them, tell them to lighten up, and let you play jokes for the whole day. It doesn't end at noon. It's called April Fool's Day. A day consists of 24 hours. That's 24 hours of good jokes and great fun that you can have. So if your boss is one of those people that tells you it ends at noon, tell him to fuck off. If he asks you, who told you to say that, tell him Mr. Everett J from the AutoLooks podcast told him to say it. And tell him to send me an email. Because I'll tell him, or her, or them, or they, or whatever. Lighten up, buddy. You gotta put a smile. And after that, stop by the website, read some of the reviews, check out some of the ratings, go to the Corporate Links website page. Big or small, we have them all. Car companies from around the globe, all available on the AutoLooks.net website. The AutoLooks podcast is brought to you by Ecom Entertainment Group and distributed by Podbeam.com. If you'd like to get in touch with us, send us an email over at email@autolooks.net. So for myself, Everett J, the AutoLooks.net website, and the Ecom Entertainment Group, strap yourself in for this one funny ride that April Fool's is going to take us on.